there, I'm Jules. Nice to see you. Today is your mom. Hi there, I'm Jules. Nice to see you. The word of the day today is ready. Are you ready? Let me know. Okay. If you'd like to know why ready is the word of the day, watch my next video and read the description to find out. Alright babes, today we are playing Blind Men again. We're gonna jump right into where we left off from. I really like this. I like the secret agent supervillain dynamic. I think that's really interesting, and I like that people are playing off of on that. Do do do. Do do do. Boop. Boop, 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 ba-doop, boop, 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 ba-doop, ba-doop, boop, 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 ba-doop, ba-doop. Alright, we're gonna go. Oh, I said start. Oopsie. Load. Yes. Okay. I see my uncle sitting at the desk, going through some papers. Before I even get to interrupt him, he raises a finger to let me know that I should wait, and then ignores me for about 5 minutes until he's done with whatever he's doing. Finally, he acknowledges me with a nod. Keegan, about time. I'll leave you to it. He puts the papers into one stack, pushing them to the side of the desk before standing up. Uncle, one more thing before you do. What does the League do with captured agents? He stops, tapping his fingers against his chin. It's been a while since I handed anyone over. They usually interrogate them before returning them to the agency. If they are particularly difficult or dangerous, they just kill them after they are done with them. Difficult or dangerous is exactly how I describe Agent Hunter. Why the sudden curiosity? He's an asshole and a complete pain, but I'm not sure if I want him to die. At least not killed by the League. That's just not a good way to go. No reason in particular. I just thought it would be prudent to know in case I needed to get rid of any loose ends. Don't worry too much about it. I'll be outside in case you need anything. He walks out of the office, and I go ahead and sit down before I dial the operator's number. Since it would be impractical to expect every single villain to keep means of contacting each other, everything is handled by a centralized department. It's actually independent from the League, so it has the benefit of being able to serve as an intermediary between us and other organizations too. Good afternoon, Sphinx. How can I help you? It's Dr. Cyclops, actually. I'm just borrowing Sphinx's phone. I need a line to call Global. That's Hunter's agency. I can't get rid of the feeling that I shouldn't hand Hunter over to the League. Perhaps I should trust my gut in this. The League doesn't necessarily have my best interests in mind. I stand up and lock the door. Once back at my seat, I lower my voice as much as possible. To Global, it's urgent. Of course. Please remember that agencies record all incoming transmissions, and they are known to use them to track down unwanted callers. If you aren't using a properly encoded line, we suggest that you switch to one before continuing the call. That isn't ominous or worrying at all. My end is secure. Go ahead. Very well. Wait a moment while I put you through. The operator disappears from the screen as soon as she finishes speaking, replaced by a spinning picture of Global's insignia. After a moment of waiting, a man in a suit picks up the call. Both he and the office he's in are completely non-descriptive, in a way that can only be intentional. He looks surprised at first, but then he frowns. Who are you and what do you want? My name is Dr. Cyclops. The man from the museum? I grin. I feel a certain sense of satisfaction from knowing that he recognized me, especially because he makes no mention of whatsoever of the incident or anything having gone wrong. That's right. Now be quiet and listen, because I'll only say this once. Recently, one of your agents came into my possession. Agent Hunter, or so he calls himself. I'd say $500,000 is a fair price to get him back. $500,000 for a single man? You're insane. Then I suppose I'll just have to send him to you in pieces so you can figure out exactly how much he's worth to you. The man goes quiet and looks away from the screen, but without turning it off. It seems like he's receiving instructions from someone else. We need proof that Agent Hunter's alive. Of course. I'll send you a finger so you can run DNA tests on it. When he doesn't answer right away, I begin to worry that he's going to call my bluff. Worst case scenario, I could get someone else to do it, but I'm about as fond of dismembering as I am of torture, which isn't much at all. We need to see him, then. I don't quite let out a sigh of relief, but it's pretty close. Perfect. You're in no position to demand anything. But just because I'm feeling kind, I'll call you back in about an hour, and you will be able to see him then. Have the money ready. I'll send you the details of the account. You know the procedure already. And just to make my point clear, I make sure to be the one to hang up first. With that done, I get up and go unlock the door. But as soon as I turn the lock, the door swings open towards me, and I see the henchman standing on the other side, his hand still on the doorknob. He takes a look at me, lets the knob go, and steps back. Boss? What is it? Are you done with the agent? The guards wanted to know if they could end their shift early. Why? Is there something wrong? Well, I'm not sure how to put it. Just say it. You're wasting my time. Agent Hunter is making them really uncomfortable. Really? Because it sure didn't seem like that when they ignored my orders and decided to talk with him. In fact, I'd say they were getting along pretty well. They were very insistent, boss. I think you should go check, just in case. I groan, and the henchman shrugs apologetically. How can it be that anyone comes into 10 meters of Agent Hunter turns into an incompetent mess? It doesn't matter. I had to go to the lab anyway. Fine, but if it turns out to be nothing, you'll all be stuck cleaning up the laboratory for the rest of the month. Or until I can think of something worse, whatever comes first. He looks a lot less sure than when he came in, but he doesn't say anything about it. The first thing I notice when I get to the lab is that the guards are now all standing at the door, rather than split between the door and being next to Agent Hunter. I suppose this position serves the purpose of making sure that Hunter doesn't go anywhere just as well without actually being close to him, but they weren't supposed to move. I glare at them on my way to the table, and they look away to avoid meeting my eyes. They know what they did. I stop next to the table and take a look at Agent Hunter. At least this time, the guards listened to me and gagged him. He has a black eye, too, probably courtesy of the henchman. But what really gets my attention is how flushed his face is, going all the way down to his neck so it's noticeable even with a gag. He looks sickly. I briefly consider the possibility of him actually being sick, but I discard it almost right away. He was perfectly fine the last time I saw him, and not enough time has passed for him to have caught something. And considering that until a few hours ago we were convinced that he was actually Professor Schultz, we didn't rough him up too badly on the way here. Then again, I'm not supposed to deliver him alive, so I'm more or less obliged to check. For all I know, he could have swallowed a cyanide pill. I carefully put a hand over his mouth to remove the gag. I'm going to take this off so you can tell me what's happening to you. But if you try anything, I'll gag you again and let you die from whatever it is. Not if you understand. He does, so I go ahead and take off the cloth with one swift move. Before I can react, Agent Hunter tilts his head forward as much as his position will allow him and grips the tip of my index finger with his teeth. But instead of biting down and leaving me one finger short, he wraps his tongue around it and licks me. Startled, I pull my hand away and we're left staring at each other for a moment. He grins and winks at me. Without the cloth covering the lower half of his face, I can see his expression more clearly. He's not feeling ill, he's... Oh my god, what is wrong with you? Hit him or walk away. I hit him. My immediate reaction is to punch him as hard as I can. The back of his head hits the table with a loud thud, hard enough to get him to start bleeding from it. He groans, the pain making him struggle against the cuffs. Shit! That's the least you deserve, you sick fuck. I wipe my hand on my pants, taking a moment to calm myself down before speaking. I really should feed you to the sharks. Count yourself lucky that I've already arranged something else. Global has agreed to pay your ransom. I suppose you're not as useless as you look, if they're willing to spend so much money on your freedom. Humor me. How much did you ask for? I'm beginning to think that not enough. I turn on the lab's computer and go through the same routine with the operator as before. It's much quicker this time, mainly because the people at Global are actually expecting me to call them, so I don't have to wait as long to be put through. As soon as the man I talked to before appears on the screen, I move aside so that the camera has a clear view of Agent Hunter. Hey boss, nice day we're having, isn't it? I take it this is enough proof? Yes, the money is being transferred to you as we speak. Good, and remember, no tricks. Right then, the henchman comes running in, stopping just outside of the camera's view. He's gasping for air as if he had run all the way here, and he takes a moment to catch his breath before he starts making gestures with his hands. Use words. I can't understand what you want. He walks over to me, but instead of just speaking at once, he pulls me to the side and lowers his voice. Boss, we have a security breach. The guards aren't answering their communicators, and the radar detected an unknown vehicle in the perimeter. What do you mean? We think it might be from Global, but we aren't sure. What? Computer, cut the transmission. Put the base on alert and go see why the guards aren't answering. If it's as serious as it sounds, come back here immediately. We should get ready to evacuate, just in case. No, not until we're absolutely sure of what's happening. The henchman nods, but he doesn't move. He has a weird expression on his face, and he's basically frozen where he's standing. I glare at him, and he finally leaves. Seems like my ride is here. Over my dead body, Agent. You're not going anywhere. Are you sure about that? Hunter raises his hands, and the cuffs snap open with a clinking sound. He does the same with his feet, and he hops off the table without effort. He smiles, tapping one of his middle teeth with his finger. The latest in agent tracking and signaling, courtesy of my friends in development. To be fair, I did tell you to search me thoroughly. It's not my fault you didn't listen. The gesture makes something click in my mind. He wasn't just being a pervert back there. He used my finger to turn it on. I must look even more dumbfounded than I thought, because his smile turns into a teasing grin. I could have done it myself, yes, but it would have been way less fun, and I wouldn't have gotten this moment. That bastard, he was just buying time to see what we'd do with him. And I bet that all the talking he did with the guards was just to distract them so they wouldn't notice when he loosened the handcuffs. I try to use the element of surprise to push him back onto the table, but instead he grabs me by the waist and spins me around so that I'm facing the opposite side. He pushes me against the table with one swift move, and the cuffs close around my wrist before I can get back up. Whatever he did to the cuffs, it was only temporary. Now they're back to normal, meaning I'm left pointlessly struggling to get them open. I demand that you release me this instant. Hunter sighs, somehow still managing to look pleased with himself. His expression changes into a grin as he moves from the end of the table to its side, leaning against it before running a finger along my arm. It sends a shiver down my spine, which I try to dissimulate by frowning even more. I don't know. You look pretty good like this. Screw you. For what it's worth, this is the most fun I've had in a mission in a long, long time. I can think of a way or two it would have been more fun, but I haven't given up on that just yet. Maybe next time. Oh! Oh! Got him! Got him! He moves a hand to the back of my head, trying to get me to keep still while I continue to struggle. After a couple of tries, he puts a hand on each side of my head instead, holding it in place as he quickly leans down just enough for our lips to meet in a kiss. The kiss is quick and with all the roughness of a man that's just about to run for his life, but it's much better than I'd be willing to admit out loud. Much, much better. Ha ha! Hunter pulls back, giving me another quick kiss before hopping off the table, taking a moment to straighten his jacket. When he's done, he puts his watch back on and uses his reflection on one of the monitors to comb his hair with his fingers. Watching him take the time to tidy up adds insult to the injury, and whatever enjoyment I got from the kiss is gone in an instant. Ground level has been compromised. All non-essential personnel commence evacuation immediately. Ah! All security personnel report to level 1. And that was the alarm. Great. I let my head fall to the table. This day could not get any worse. See you later, Doctor. Hunter turns around to leave, but stops at the last second, just before getting to the door. He then blows me a kiss, which is only made slightly better by the fact that he doesn't bother to follow it with a one-liner. If I could, I would cover my face in frustration, but as it stands, I can't, so just close my eyes and let out a frustrated groan. About a minute later, I hear somebody come into the laboratory. It's my uncle! He runs toward the control panel and turns the power off so that I can get out of the cuffs. There you are, Keegan. Are you hurt? I can't tell whether he's actually as calm as he sounds, or if it just seems like that because he's waiting for the right moment to scold me. Either way, I don't really care right now. And whatever he has to say, I probably deserve it. I stand up, rubbing my wrists. My whole body is going to hurt like hell tomorrow, but I'm in one piece. Just a little bruised. Good. We have to leave now. This place will be full of global agents any second now. He puts a hand on my shoulder and pretty much pushes me toward the door, walking out of the room right after I do. I follow him deeper into the base, down to where the vehicles are stored when not in use. The place is full of henchmen running back and forth, most of them trying to get as many things possible into the vehicles while the guards direct them. They swarm toward my uncle as soon as they notice him, talking on top of each other in any attempt to get his attention. He dismisses them all with a wave of his hand, pushing through the more insistent ones before we board a car that has been waiting for us. I look at him out of the corner of my eye and notice that his expression of worry is gone, replaced by a frown that somehow makes him look exhausted at the same time. Because Global found out its location, we had to get rid of the old base. Moving from one base to the other is always a tiresome process, And this time it was made worse by the circumstances. Or maybe it only feels that way because I've been the one taking care of the whole operation so far. Everything is suddenly a delicate job, and things only get done as quickly as I'm there to approve them or have them changed. The fact that my uncle didn't give me a strict budget or even a deadline also gives me the feeling that he's playing mind games with me, because I can't stop thinking about it. In the end, he didn't scold me for what happened, but now everyone is tense all the time because of it. Nobody wants to be the one that messes up and finally gets him to snap. It's bad enough that I failed to deliver Hunter to the League. Now I have to worry about my uncle as well. I wish he'd just yell at me or something and be done with it. I'm starting to get jumpy because of it. But he hasn't brought up sending me to college at all, so I suppose it could be worse. Boss, you have a call. The sound of the henchman opening the door snaps me out of my thoughts. I acknowledge him with a hand gesture, but I don't look up from the notebook in front of me. Even as we speak, I'm still doing mental calculations and writing down the results. I'm not in the mood. Tell whoever it is to call back later. The henchman goes quiet, but he doesn't leave. Finally, I look up and realize that he seems rather uneasy. He clears his throat before he starts speaking again, but this time in a much lower voice. She told me that if you said something like that, I should remind you that leaving a lady waiting is rude. And that Sphinx taught you better manners than that. There's only one person I know that would speak to me like that, or at least only one woman. Rubbing my eyes with my free hand, I put down the pen and push the notebook away from me. Yes, I know her. Put her through. But he still doesn't leave. Instead, he takes a step forward, getting close enough to drop a yellow envelope on top of the desk. It seems like whatever it is, it's for me. Do you need anything else? This came earlier. You already ran the usual test to make sure it's not dangerous, but we didn't want to open it without your permission. The first thing I noticed about the envelope is that it's unmarked, without any signs of who might have sent it. The only thing we know about it is that it's a document of some kind inside it. Well, an unmarked envelope of unknown contents and origin isn't worrisome. At all. One thing at a time. First, the call. The henchman nods and finally walks out of the room right after. A moment later, one of the lights on the computer begins to blink, indicating that there's a call on hold. I press the button and Mantis appears on the screen, grinning as she waves at me. Hello, dear. I just wanted to check up on you. Mantis. To what do I owe the pleasure? You can stop, dear. Being humble doesn't suit a supervillain. In any case, I wanted to be the first one to congratulate you. I do my best to keep a neutral expression as I try to come up with something I'd done recently that would be worth calling me in person, and to congratulate me, of all things. I can't think of anything that she'd be aware of, except maybe, I really appreciate that you went through the trouble of calling me, but I decided not to attend college. I'm going to apply for the League instead, and I've been working with my uncle for a while now. Someone was supposed to let you know that I wouldn't be needing the recommendation letter anymore. I'm not sure what happened. She looks confused for a moment, then shakes her head. The letter? That silly piece of paper? No, I knew from the moment Sphinx asked me to write it that you would have no use for it. I mean, look at you. You're a real chip off the old block. I'm talking about the League. Did you say you were going to apply? I consider what she just said. Mantis has always been relatively supportive of my desire of becoming a supervillain, but now she's oddly interested in the matter. You don't know? I swear, sometimes I'm glad I don't have to deal with them anymore. I can never tell if they're incompetent or if they do it on purpose just to keep us on our toes. In that case, I suppose I have the pleasure of being the one to let you know. A little bird told me that you've been accepted into the League. You should be receiving the official notification in the next few days. But how? I didn't get the diamond, I kidnapped the wrong person, and Agent Hunter got away. If it had gone any worse, I would be sitting in jail right now. I decided to play along and see where this leads to. Yes, well, you know how it is. We aren't really supposed to talk about it. They took so long to get back to me that I'd assumed that I'd been turned down. I was planning to apply again. Did you happen to hear anything else about my application? I'm curious about what they said about it. Nothing specific, but I've had a good idea of what made them pick you. And to be clear, I monitor the list pretty regularly, just so you don't think I'm spying on you or anything like that. I wasn't thinking that before, but now... Anyway, I'm sending you the file. Consider it my welcome gift. She blows a kiss at me as her image disappears from the screen, replaced by a message asking for authorization to begin the download. The transfer takes a few seconds, and I open it as soon as it's done, revealing what looks like the scanned pages of a document. Upon closer inspection, I realize that it's a group of names, each one with a picture next to it and a reference number that leads to a different page. There are also handwritten annotations next to some of the names, and a faint watermark that I recognize as Global's symbol. This is Global's list of most wanted criminals! How did she even get one so recent? I keep scrolling until I reach the end of the list, and the last picture catches my attention right away. It's me, and I'm even listed as Dr. Cyclops. I take a look at the reference number and go to the corresponding page. It's a whole file about me, including some other pictures that show me and the henchman kidnapping Hunter. Dr. Cyclops, real name and age unknown. Wanted for grand theft, attempted kidnapping of a civilian, kidnapping of a global representative, property damage, and organized crime. Unconfirmed relation with Sphinx. Further investigation pending. So this is what Madame Mantis meant. It doesn't seem like much by itself, but considering that the rest of the list is made up solely of people that I recognize as League members, being in it would put me miles ahead of any other applicant. This explains why the League is under the impression that I was successful, even when I failed to deliver Agent Hunter to them. The way it's written, this file makes me sound like a really promising supervillain. But how did Global find out? The only ones that were there for the whole thing other than me were my uncle, the henchman, and Hunter. Unless... I remember the unmarked envelope and I rushed to open it, practically ripping it in half as I do. Inside there's a photograph. It's rather grainy, but since it was taken by the security cameras inside the museum, it's clearly meant to belong to the same set as the pictures in Global's file. It shows Agent Hunter and I speaking, but due to the angle and the poor quality, the whole scene looks way more intimate than it actually was. I turn it around and see that there's something written in the back. Don't worry, I keep this one to myself. You're welcome. Love, Hunter. Ah! Why are you so mad, Keegan? He's just flirting with you. I crumble the photograph into a ball before throwing it aside as hard as I can, and I slam my hands against the keyboard. I'm so angry that I manage to snap some of the keys out of their place, and I end up making a small cut on the underside of one of my palms. I can't believe the nerve of that man. First he humiliates me, then he puts me on the most wanted list himself. Now when I receive my acceptance letter, all I'm going to be able to think about is how much he had to do with it. I wipe my hand on my shirt, then make a fist to stop the bleeding. Mark my words, Hunter, this isn't the last you've seen of me. The end? Wait. Really? Oh. Wait, really? That's the end? Really? Wait, access denied. Why? Okay, so there's different endings, I guess, and different... Oh, I guess because, like... And I didn't have anything to do with the Russian guy. It's kind of a letdown ending, though. I mean... For real. Okay, well... That was a very abrupt ending, but we made it into the League of Supervillains, so that's great. I'm glad that we're supervillains now. This is awesome. Thank you so much for playing with me, and I hope you had fun, because I did. I'll see you later.